Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dirty Gaming and a new video on the channel, crafting our 6 T1 claw for the Lightning Strike build. Before we get into the actual craft, I've linked a website which essentially tells you where to put things to get the most effect. It can be very complicated to know where to put things. I didn't film a graveyard, but I was very close to it. I didn't really need to use the last 3 slots because it would have been really serious diminishing returns. In fact, I might have gone a bit overkill anyway. But what this website does is show you the layout that you want to use if you're crafting items. So the one I used is default layout for column and row buffs. So what this does is you will put certain corpses that give buffs to column and buffs to rows in certain places. And then you can see here it gives you increased modifiers for a lot of plots. So what you would do is your more expensive ones you put in the 1.5. The very, very cheap ones you put in 1. And then the middle cost ones you put in the 1.25. This just means that you have to use less corpses and you get better effect from those corpses. There are other ones if you want to craft a really, really good item and you are going to spend a lot of currency crafting it. It's got this one here that will mirror an item and it'll also craft additional items. So let's say the item has a 60% chance of success. If you get additional crafts, you've got much more chance of getting that item that you need. However, the corpses for adding a craft are really expensive. They're closing in on 2 divines now. And all of my corpses combined were probably between 2 to 3 divines. And I farmed a lot of them myself. So I thought if it fails, I'll just go again. Apologies, the cat's being the center of attention again. But yeah, I just thought I'd link that layout. I've also linked, which I'll mention later on, a video from Crouching Tuner, which goes through in really good detail how the graveyard system works and how to craft items. So let's jump into the craft. I'll put this there if people wanted to screenshot, but this is kind of what I'm going for. I could add some more gem scarcity to make it just a tiny bit more increased chance to hit my craft, but they're getting quite expensive. They're sort of 30 to 40 chaos. And at the moment, gem modifiers are 1% chance to roll on my implicit. If I add another gem modifier, it goes to 0.8%. So really, you're talking tiny, tiny fractions. What a lot of people do in the craft in these claws is they will add corpses that give you additional copies or chance at additional copies. You put a few of them in, then you're going to get 2 crafts. So if one bricks, you've got a good chance of the next one working. The issue is they're quite expensive. They're between 1 to 2 divines per corpse. And all of these things combined, I doubt cost me 2 divines. None of them are particularly expensive. It's just a bit of a ball ache to buy them all. However, I did farm a lot of them myself because I do destructive play with lots of the lead mechanic nodes. And most of these corpses I farmed myself. I had to top up some attribute ones, resistance scarcity. And then I had to buy some crit and speed. Gem ones were the only ones that were moderately expensive. They were about 30C. So what we're doing is just setting the quality to 30% with 6 5% corpses, adding 2 explicit modifiers to make sure it's a 6 mod item, increase fire, cold and lightning a reasonable amount but not loads because it'll add to the resistances, lots of speed and crit because they're the only suffixes we want to see, and then we basically make all the other stuff that we can scarce. So physical, chaos, mana, resistance, attribute and gem. Modifier rating, get it up so that you can only craft T1. You can use Craft of Exile for that. And then I've just got to roll the explicit modifiers 9 times, keeping the best outcome. So I'm more likely to hit higher rolls in the tier 1s that I get. And I had some fracture ones lying around, so I've thrown them in. So I've got almost 100% chance to fracture. So if the item does not end up perfect, if I can get a fractured T1 attack speed Imperial Claw or T1 Lightning, might be able to sell that for 2 to 3 divines and then I make my money back for the craft. I will then have to spend hours buying the corpses again. But what I found when you're buying these is if you want 6 500% lightning ones, for example, you could probably go on somewhere like TFT and buy them in bulk, or just whisper someone and ask if they have any more. You can even ask what ones they have and you might be able to buy loads off of the same person. Does you both a favor, gets them a lot of sales and gets you less interactions. Instead of having to do like 50 trades, you might only have to do 10. So what I've done is use Craft of Exile to work out the likelihood of my craft. If you want to know more about the method that I'm using, check out Crouching Tuner's video, does the same thing. He explains it really, really well, and I don't want to spend ages just going over stuff that other people have gone through. So what I'm basically asking for is triple T1 cold fire and lightning, attack speed and crit chance. Just make sure they're all in different columns because that means it will roll on different modifiers. If you put them all on one, it just means cold fire or lightning. So you can see with basically my setup, I've got a 60% chance for this craft to succeed. Even if it doesn't succeed, as I say, it should fracture. If it does, it's very likely to fracture a mod that I could sell. So the way you set it up is you just add all of the things that you have in your grave. So where you've got like 500% coal, I'll put that 5 times to 2,500. It's not exactly accurate because I've got some things that add like 25% efficiency. So where you would have 2,500, it's actually 2,625. So the craft vector simulation is not perfect, but it's going to be there or thereabouts. So if we go ahead and generate a sample item, we can see if I hit this first one, I've missed attack speed, but if I hit T1 everything else, and one of these has got a chance to fracture. We'll do another one here. This one would be perfect. Attack speed, crit chance, crit multi, lightning damage, fire damage, cold damage. We generate another one. Again, that's perfect item. That would work. This one, again, crit chance, attack speed, crit multi, triple prefixes. So you can see it's very likely to succeed. I say I could put in the ones to do additional copies, but they're very, very expensive. And I don't really want to do that. It only really is worthwhile if you get 2 crafts that work. Otherwise, you've kind of wasted it in essence. Although you could say that one might have been the additional copy, but they are very expensive. So we will go and we will craft. We'll just double check that we've got everything we need. We've got quality, 2 explicits. We've got our increases. We've got our decreases. Our modified tier can only roll T1. Chance to fracture. And then re-roll the explicit modifiers. So we're going to go to weapon. We will go to one-handed claw. We will go to Imperial Claw, wherever we are. Here. So that tells me I'm level 82, which is fine. It actually stops chaos damage from rolling. So it kind of gives you more chance of hitting your prefixes. Rare Claw, Imperial, 6 modifiers. It's going to be 30% because of up to here. So we will just craft and see how it goes. And we got it. Perfect. So there is our claw. We have fire, cold, lightning, crit chance, attack speed, and crit multi. All T1, job done. Now we just need to go and harvest craft it to turn the quality into attack speed. I've now basically got, well, it's essentially probably take away maybe some synthesis implicits. We've got kind of what would be a mirror tier claw in other leagues. Very, very easily. If it would have bricked, I'd go again. It's probably 3 divines maybe to buy all these corpses, but the time is what you've got to factor in. It might take you 2 hours, which if you're farming 10 divines an hour, that's 20 divines you've lost. But we now have our perfect lightning strike claw. That's it for this video. That's obviously going to go a long way to making the build have a much more DPS. Not sure what crafting projects are next, but there'll be a video in the next few days. Any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you do need further resources, I'd recommend checking out the linked guide. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.